Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for coming. We are here today to talk about the Pennsylvania Crime and Delinquency program and grant that the city of Newcastle received. This grant means a lot to the city of Newcastle. Most importantly, it means that our streets are going to be safer. It means that we can hire the best and the brightest officers to join our force. Standing here today with me, we have Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis, Police Chief David Kumo, Pennsylvania State Representative Marla Brown, and Commissioner Dan Vogel. If my memory serves me correct, this is probably the third or fourth time that you or Governor Shapiro have come to Newcastle. That also means a lot to us. You know, these trips to Newcastle shows us that we're on their radar, and we thank them so much for that. Our goal here in Newcastle is to change the perception of Newcastle. Newcastle isn't a city that's riddled with crime. Newcastle is home to many people, myself included. We're working diligently every day to change that perception, and it starts here with this grant. This grant is going to give us the resources to train and recruit new officers or officers who already are qualified that are just looking for a change to come to a well-qualified, well-resourced police force here in the state of Pennsylvania. I just want to take the time now and give the podium over to Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis to give some remarks. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. First, thank you to Administrator Fry for welcoming me back to Newcastle, and to the local elected officials, thank you for being here as well. To Representative Brown, thank you for being here, but even more so, thank you for being such a strong partner for the governor and I to make sure we got a bipartisan state budget done to drive these resources to communities like Newcastle. Commissioner, it's great to be back here in Lawrence County. Good to see you again. You know, we're back here today to talk about how our administration continues to get stuff done day in and day out. We're delivering real results for the people of Pennsylvania and providing funding for nearly 1,500 police officers all across Pennsylvania. Every Pennsylvanian, whether you live in a big city like Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, or a small city like Newcastle, or a suburban or rural community, everyone should have the freedom to both feel safe and be safe in their community. When Pennsylvanians don't feel safe going to school or attending a party, walking down the street in their neighborhoods, we can't thrive as a Commonwealth unless we're meeting that basic need for safety and security. This issue, and the issue of gun violence in our communities, is something that's personal to me. It's the issue that first brought me to public service. When I was in high school, growing up just a little bit down the road here in a small town called McKeesport, there was a shooting on my block, and that really spurred me to take action and to get involved in my community. I started a violence intervention program when I was in high school, and violence prevention has been the single issue that has carried me throughout my public service career, whether it was in county government as a senior advisor to County Executive Fitzgerald, as a state representative, and now as your lieutenant governor. Those initial organizing efforts are what eventually led me to run for office, to become a Pennsylvania state representative, and now to serve as your lieutenant governor. I come obviously from an aging steel town that is a lot like Newcastle, and in many ways sometimes has felt forgotten by leaders in Harrisburg and in Washington, D.C. And Administrator Fry referenced the amount of times that the governor and I have been back to Newcastle, and I want to make it clear, we're not going to leave any community behind in the Shapiro Davis administration. When we first ran for office, the governor and I promised to ensure that our police departments were well-staffed and well-funded. In our first two budgets, with the help of Representative Brown and our partners in the General Assembly, we secured funding for 800 new state troopers. Last December, we broke ground on a new state police academy, the most comprehensive update to their training facility since it opened in 1960. Our state trooper cadets deserve the best, and our local police departments deserve the best that we can give them as well. That's why I'm so thrilled to be here today to talk about a new grant award from the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, which I have the privilege of leading as their chairman, to help the city of Newcastle recruit and retain an additional 7 new police officers to their force. This grant of $35,000 is part of the latest round of grants under this program, which has now awarded more than $3 million to 108 police departments to help them fill 692 vacant positions across Pennsylvania. That's important because the epidemic of gun violence is happening all across Pennsylvania. This isn't just a Philadelphia problem, it's not just a Pittsburgh problem, and it's not just a Newcastle problem. It's an American problem, but it's one that we can and we must do something about. Police officers will be the first ones to tell you we can't police our way out of many of the problems that we see plaguing our communities. That's why our administration is taking a comprehensive approach to make Pennsylvania's communities safer. By investing $45 million into community-based programs to reduce gun violence, creating a new statewide building opportunity through out-of-school time or boost to provide more after-school learning experiences and safe spaces for our young people, and doubling our investment in the nonprofit security grant program, increasing funding for domestic violence services, and staffing up the new statewide Office of Gun Violence Prevention, which I was proud to spearhead. All of that is important, but we have to make sure that we get the policing part right, so departments can attract high-quality recruits and train them to do their jobs effectively. Our administration is proud to support local law enforcement agencies to help them do their difficult jobs throughout every single day of keeping our community safe. We have a responsibility as elected officials to make sure that our constituents both feel safe and are safe in our communities, with an opportunity to make sure our young people have the opportunity to live the American dream. And if we're not meeting that basic need for security, we're not going to accomplish any of those other goals that we're working to address. So I want to thank you all for welcoming me back to Newcastle. It's my pleasure to turn it over to a good partner of the governor and I's, Representative Brown.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, and I echo the sentiment that we're very glad to see you back here, back in Newcastle. Glad to have you. I'm honored to be able to celebrate a significant step forward for the Newcastle Police Department in their ongoing efforts to strengthen both public safety and also a well-equipped law enforcement team under the direction of Chief Como. As many of you know, law enforcement agencies across the Commonwealth, and indeed across the country, are facing challenges in recruiting and retaining qualified officers. These challenges, combined with the increasing demands of police work, make it even more crucial that we invest in our local police departments, as we're seeing today. That's why I'm so pleased that the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency recently awarded the Newcastle Police Department $35,000 to support its law enforcement recruitment efforts. This grant's a critical resource that will allow the department to continue its work in attracting and training the next generation of officers, individuals who are not only dedicated to public safety, but are committed to building positive relationships with the community. This funding is especially timely as it will help the Newcastle Police Department with recruitment strategies that I've talked with Chief Como about, improve retention efforts, and provide officers with the tools and resources they need to succeed in their roles. In addition to ensuring a steady pipeline of qualified candidates, these funds will support the department's broader goal of ensuring that every officer is equipped with the skills to engage effectively in the community and navigate the complexities of modern law enforcement, which is changing before our eyes. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize the efforts of the Newcastle Police Department in addressing public safety challenges, which they've been working very hard and diligently at. its commitment to community-oriented policing and proactive approach to fostering partnerships with local organizations and also our residents. These efforts are vital, not only in reducing crime, but in building lasting trust between law enforcement and the people that they serve. This grant will play a key role in helping the department continue this important work, strengthening public safety and ensuring Newcastle remains a place where everyone can feel secure and supported. The award is also a reflection of the dedication of the Newcastle Police leadership and the hard work that they've done to position their department for success in a time of evolving enforcement needs. We're grateful to the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for its continued investment in our law enforcement agencies. It's through these types of partnerships and resources that we can build stronger, safer communities across the Commonwealth. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to introduce Commissioner Vogler.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I very much appreciate being asked to make a few brief remarks. I want to begin by acknowledging my colleague and friend, Commissioner Dan Kennedy, who is with us as well today. Commissioner. Also, the members of City Council who are here. Gentlemen, it's always a pleasure to see each and every one of you. Mr. Fry noted that Lieutenant Governor Davis has been to Lawrence County on numerous occasions. I know he was the keynote speaker when we broke ground for a business park in the southern end of the county in New Beaver Borough earlier this year. And he made a good faith effort to come here for our 175th anniversary. The weather conditions precluded you from, but we appreciate and Governor, you're always welcome here, even when you don't bring money.
I'd like to bring money.
Well, and we're very grateful for that. One of the things I tremendously respect about the Newcastle Police Department is the fact that they are a partner with a number of other organizations here in Lawrence County. For example, I believe you have an agreement with Taylor Township. You provide coverage to Taylor Township, and I'm sure you have a lot of mutual aid agreements with the surrounding townships. I know for a fact that you work very closely with our district attorney's office and with the Lawrence County Department of Public Safety. Governor, I can assure you that this grant will be well invested and it will pay significant dividends for our community. So thank you again very much.
Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure to introduce the man who's going to have to do the implementation once this money comes to the other side, Police Chief Cuomo. Police Chief.
Thanks to everybody who's here to attend today. It means a lot to support, especially City Council, our commissioners, Representative Brown. It's really a family-oriented city. We have our problems, sure, but really we're a family-oriented, likable town. We get a bad rap for things that occur here, but it's a city, and things occur here that happen in a big city. Thankfully, they don't happen every day like they do in a big city. So we expect things to come up here and there, but we got some wonderful neighborhoods, wonderful people, and as everyone said up here, basically the old saying, it takes a village. And we're not going to arrest our way out of crime and drugs and all that. It really has to be a focus on the youth. It has to be involvement with our officers and other members of our community to instill that trust and respect both ways. One of the biggest challenges in law enforcement today is recruitment and retention. I just got back from the International Association of Chiefs of Police Conference with Lieutenant Brooks over there. And most of the seminar classes they have there were for ways to recruit and retain the officers. With these funds from the PCCD grant, we're able to further attract and compete in increasing our applicant pool. Not only of people that are thinking of getting into the policing profession, but also other police officers that might be looking to make a change and go to work for a different department. We're very diverse in what we have to offer here. between our crime detectives, our narcotics detectives, and just like Commissioner Vogler said, we have a lot of joint task force that we work well together, not only with the county law enforcement personnel, but all the surrounding townships. But the main thing is keeping us staffed. We're not able to get out and do our job if we don't have enough personnel to respond to these calls. In addition to that, by keeping a full staff, we're able to respond to these calls quickly, and that increases the chances of actually making on-view arrests by getting there quickly. So I can't stress enough the importance of these funds and how it will help us to kind of be more attractive to other people that are thinking about getting into the law enforcement career. And these funds are vital to that. And again, Lieutenant Governor, we thank you tremendously for this, because without stuff like this, we would be short-staffed just like most of the other agencies across the country right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is just another example of our administration's efforts to make sure we close that gap, to make sure communities have the resources that they need to keep our community safe. And you have our commitment that we're going to continue to work to make sure your job's a little easier. So thank you, Chief. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions from the media if there are any. But I think that concludes our press conference.
Sir, I got one question. My name is David Moore. I'm the outpatient, I'm Newcastle City Council, but also the outpatient therapist for Newcastle School District. I was wondering, is there any funding towards mental health and the PCCD?
Yeah, there's a huge component. If you connect with Lauren in my office, we can make sure we connect you with PCCD so you can get in the pipeline for that. But there is a component for mental health.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, guys. Oh, sorry.
Quick question. The grant itself, it may be better for the chief, I don't know. Is it going to general policing and hiring patrolmen, or will it go into specialized programs like task force and, de-escalation training, things like that?
Yeah, that's a chief.
Right now, the main focus is going to be in hiring, attracting people to get hired. We are, in addition to occasionally losing officers that take other jobs, either in policing or outside of policing, we have some retirements coming up shortly. So those funds will, again, help us in recruiting officers to maintain our full staffing.
Are you at full staff right now, chief?
Yes, we just hired an officer last week, and that brought us back up to full staff again.
What number is full staff?
It's 33 officers plus myself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.